Look up in the sky. It's bigger than a football field, weighs more than 451 tons, yet is moving faster than 5 miles a second, and provides as much living space as a 747 jetliner. What's going on inside the International Space Station?
Space Station's it's a laboratory. It's a house where the crew lives and works. It's got its own electrical power system, command and data handling system. It's got a wastewater processing system, a full-up environmental control system, thermal control system, and it's also a research laboratory.
In fact, it's several laboratories. There are laboratory modules from the space agencies of Europe, Japan, and Russia, and the whole American segment of the station has been designated a national laboratory to boost utilization by government and the private sector in pursuit of national scientific priorities.
You have people thinking about science in their own discipline, maybe not necessarily thinking they could get access to a space station environment, and now they have access to the environment, and they're not polarized in the way NASA thinks. And so they're going to be able to come up with a different set of experiments than somebody within the program.
Station crew members assist those researchers with their experiments. In other cases, the crew members are the experiment, determining how the human body responds to long stretches of time without the pull of gravity.
It leads to muscle atrophy, it leads to bone loss, it leads to our cardiovascular system becomes less ready to return to ground, to earth conditions.
And testing ways to keep them strong and healthy so they can function when they return to a gravity environment, whether on Earth or some other heavenly body.
I'm going to follow a diet with salt, for example, the SOLO experiment, to see what the effect is on bone loss. But we also do psychological experiments to check your reaction time. We have strength measurements. We have experiments to see how your endurance changes in flight. So on a lot of different fields, we have these kind of experiments. We even have experiments to check, say, the metabolism of the body with hairs. So it's a Japanese experiment called HAIR.
The human life sciences research is just one of the main areas of investigation being pursued in the station's labs.
It can be medical biological experiments, experiments that study the production of different materials in space, geophysical experiments, experiments on the study of Earth.
There will be some technical experiments where we're going to use both the station, its capabilities, the materials it's made of, and the microaccelerations existing on board of the station, and vacuum that surrounds the station.
And on top of the official list of experiments, one-time NASA Space Station science officer Don Pettit plans to revive an off-duty activity he pioneered as a member of Expedition 6, simple scientific demonstrations known as Saturday Morning Science.
Using galley materials and little bits and things that I find on station, and use these in some clever way to illustrate some basic principle of science. And I'm planning a whole repertoire of these Saturday morning science demonstrations.
To support the science goals, crew members maintain the station in top operating condition. They're on hand for daily chores needed to keep the station flying, for unexpected repairs when they crop up, and to support visiting vehicles when they arrive with new loads of supplies. Expedition 30 expects to greet the first flight of a commercial cargo ship when Space Exploration Technologies Corporation's Dragon spaceship makes its demonstration flight. A second vehicle in NASA's Commercial Orbital Transportation Services program, Orbital Sciences Corporation's Cygnus, is aiming to make a demonstration flight later in the year.
The way those two vehicles work is they will essentially fly up to the space station and station keep or fly formation essentially with the space station, and then we'll use the station's robotic manipulator system, the big arm, to basically track, capture, and then berth those to Node 2.
Dragon is also designed to be able to return to Earth, unlike the current supply ships servicing the International Space Station, providing another means to get experiment samples and other items home to researchers. Station crew members are trained as spacewalkers in case they're called on to do repair work outside. For Expedition 30, 2 crew members have trained for a Russian segment spacewalk in February.
Anton Shkaplerov and myself will need to move the Russian cargo boom from the airlock to MRM-2, and we will need to install additional micrometeoroid shields on the service module. These are 2 time-consuming and labor-intensive operations, and if time allows,
I will be collecting various bacteria that actually land on the International Space Station exterior cover to determine what can happen to the station after it's been in operation for more than 10 years.
The next month, Shkaplerov, Ivanishyn, and Burbank head home, and Kononenko takes over as commander of Expedition 31. Just days later, he and Cowpers and Pettit will get a new shipment of supplies on board the European Space Agency's 3rd automated transfer vehicle, the Eduardo Amaldi, which will be followed in about 2 weeks by a Soyuz carrying 2-time former station commander Gennady Podolka and first-time station crew members Sergei Revin and Joe Acaba. Kononenko, Cowpers, and Pettit are due to depart the station in mid-May after about 150 days spent in space, helping lay the groundwork for the next stage of human space exploration.
I think human beings will inevitably expand into our solar system. And I think space station will be seen as one of the little baby steps required to do this.
We're preparing for the flights of this type physically, scientifically, nutritionally, behaviorally. It does provide food for thought on how we're going to explore the space in the future.
I like the expression from that we're standing with our toes in an ocean that's still to be discovered. We're only with our toes in the water at the moment, and there's so much to discover, and it will continue in ways that we cannot even imagine now.